Frequent flyer, fly, la 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 la. Frequent flyer is back.
What's up? You checking out the Frequent Flyer? Welcome back to the channel. Smash the like button to show your support. If you're new to the channel, I like to extend the warmest welcome as always. And today I want to show you guys this little car right here. This is the LDARC R02 1/64th scale. I want to say that it's part of the same series that this little car is. This is the R01 right here. And if you guys saw my video on this little car, I'm really fond of this car and I like it even more now. I love this little truck. Well, I'm calling it a car, but it's actually a little truck. And I love the way this thing drives. I love that it has this little suspension on it. It has full suspension on it. And it's just a really good runner, this little car. 1/64th scale. It has a really tight turn radius and everything. Just an excellent little truck. I keep calling it a car, but it's an excellent little vehicle right here, 1/64th scale. And so it made me excited about this one. Actually, they have, I think, one other 1/64th scale vehicle that I haven't tried yet. It's a van, actually. Not sure that I'm too sold on getting a little van. For the most part, I think I might get another one of these, but I got this one being excited about this. And I had really high expectations for this little car. It is a really nice car, 1/64th scale, but I have to say that I still like this little Jeep more than I like the R02. The R01, in my opinion, is better. And I'm going to tell you why in this video. The first thing that I don't like about this car is the fact that the wheels, check out the wheels. Hopefully you can see the wheels there. The wheels are bald. They're rubber wheels, nevertheless, but they're kind of rounded and smooth. And so one of the things that I really like this truck for is the fact that it runs on my floor really nice. And I think because it has these little treads on the wheels, look at the wheels there, they're not rounded so much and they do have treads on them. It has a whole lot of grip. It has a really good grip on the floor, great handling because of the suspension. This thing is awesome on my little laminate floors. The suspension compensates for the little cracks that it's running over, so it runs really smooth. And it has a whole lot of grip because of, I guess, the treads on the tires and all. And it has a really tight turn radius, so sometimes if you're going too fast with it, you can get it to flip over like that or whatever when you're going fast and you hit a hard turn. But you can change the dual rate on the turn radius or whatnot to make it a wider turn, and that helps you out when you're trying to make turns and you're going real fast. But it still will flip over sometimes. But this one here, it's slipping around all the time on the floors because of the nature of the tires, because the tires are bald tires. You know, no tread on the tires. So that's one thing that I don't like. It slips around a lot when I'm trying to take off and do turns. It spins out a lot. And so the next thing that I don't like about this little car in comparison to this little truck here is that it does not have a tight turn radius. And so I even swap. It comes with these, I want to call these control arm spare parts here. Little control arms to put on the servo. Well, to link up with the servo in here to give you different options as far as toe in and toe out and stuff with the front tires there. And it still does not correct the problem. Best I can get is a tight turn to one direction and not as tight on the other direction. And so I don't know if that's an issue that I can solve with the transmitter, because I have not been able to find out how to find the endpoints or set the endpoints on the steering. I have tried to recalibrate the transmitter before. It comes with a really nice transmitter, the same transmitter that this one comes with. This is the CT03. It is. You guys can't see that. It's right up here, though. It says CT03 right there. But it's a really nice transmitter and all. And I think you probably can get to it, but I have not successfully been able to. I tried to recalibrate it and everything went haywire on the car. I actually ended up having to send that car back because I was unable to. I had got this car once before from Amazon and it wouldn't go backwards. It wouldn't go in reverse, but it would only go backwards, but it wouldn't go forward. It would only go in reverse. And so it was a calibration issue, I was thinking. And so I tried to recalibrate the transmitter and everything went haywire. At that point, I just had to send it back to Amazon and get another one, which is this one that came. And so everything is running correctly with this one. And I just say that to say that I'm afraid to try to recalibrate the transmitter because it went haywire on me last time I did it. And so I really don't want to risk that again. And so we're stuck with what we're stuck with. The best I was able to do, swap to one of the included control arms. It comes with 2 extras and 1 already installed. And it really didn't solve my issue with the tight turn radius. Well, with it having a wide turn radius rather. And so I don't like that either. And the significance of that is driving it around on a desktop, driving it around on the many tiny tracks that I have built for these little things right here. I have my turbo racing cars on deck. These cars are a little smaller. So let me show you guys a size comparison. This is one of the larger turbo racing cars. This is a drift car, but check it out. It's larger, but not by much. So you can get these 1/64th scale cars on the same racetracks that I run my turbo racing 1/76 scale cars on. And this one actually has a really nice turn radius, and so I can drive it no problem on my tracks. This one, not so much. In one direction, it's virtually impossible. You have to go to the extreme outer ends of the tracks to try to make turns before you get to the turn. And the other direction is barely doable, but for the most part, it does not have enough turn radius in order to run comfortably on my little tracks. And so I really don't like that. But I have to say that my main attraction to these little 1/64th scale cars is running them on the floor, not running them on the tracks. Running them on the tracks is just a plus. This one does them both very well. And this one on the floor, it runs nice, but it spins out a lot. And so I think those two things that I expressed my dislike for, it kind of rules out both things to do with it. It rules out the turn radius, rules out running them on the tracks, and the sliding of the ball tires, the sliding effect of the ball tires rules out running it on the floor and having a whole lot of fun. Well, as much fun as this one anyhow, because you can sort of get around sliding out. You just have to be gentle and not, go into the turns with a lot of throttle on, because it'll spin out at any given time. So you can have fun with it, but I would much rather run this one on the floor. I would pick this one up before I would pick this up. Now, this one is a little faster than this little Jeep. Previously, this was the fastest little car that I had, under 1/43rd scale. But now this one is the fastest out of all of them by far, but it just doesn't handle well. It does have full suspension, front and rear, but it just does not handle well as far as the turns because of the ball tires on the floor, that is. Now, I had no problem with the tracks. The tracks I usually treat with Flex Seal, or a lot of times the rubber is just enough. you know, running them with the rubbers, they have enough grip and all. It doesn't spin out on the tracks or anything. But then I have the issue about the turn radius. And so I really don't, I'm really not that excited about driving this car on the floor or on the track. I would grab this one before I would do anything with this. And my little turbo racings, they're the best for running around on the tabletops and on my little tracks. Actually, this one is giving them a run for their money. It actually runs well on the tabletop and on my tracks. But I would argue that it's maybe a little too fast for the desktop. And maybe if it was four-wheel drive, I think it would be easier for me to run it on maybe a desktop and have a little more power as far as slow movement and whatnot. Right now it's just rear wheel drive, and so you can get around on a smooth table or whatnot, but when you start having to go over little bumps and stuff like that, that's where it starts running into problems. When you're trying to drive it slow, you'll have to give it a little more throttle, and then you start running into other issues as far as going too fast and stuff like that. Don't like running my little turbo racings on the floor. Oh, and there's another thing that I can say about these little cars. I don't know if I mentioned it before, but these are more fun on floors because they roll. You know, after you let off the throttle, they roll. They are like free rolling. You can roll these guys along. This one, the same thing. And it gives you more of the feel of when you're running the hobby grade RC cars and trucks out on the parking lot and stuff like that. You know, you're giving it throttle and then you let off the throttle and they roll for a while. You can, you know, turn around obstacles and stuff without giving it throttle, just by the momentum of it rolling. These little turbo racing cars don't have anything comparable to that. The most that they have is programming that allows these little guys to roll, but it only rolls a little bit. It's not really momentum or whatnot, and so it's fake and it's nothing like the real thing. These guys rolling after the throttle is a whole lot more fun than running these little turbo racing cars on the floor. And so, in other words, with the turbo racing cars, that little programming that when you let off the throttle, they roll a little bit and then come to a stop, it only works well on a small track in a small setting. And it's only sort of to give you that feel that a car like this would give you, you know, when you're running it and you let off the throttle and it's just rolling along. You know, you can roll these guys around. I don't have any problem with just letting my kids running like this. With these little turbo racing cars, I used to be scared to death of my kids grabbing them and pushing them along and everything. You hear that? You can you can hear that it doesn't like to be just pushed around like a car on a table, whereas these little guys are free rolling, you know. And so that's one thing I wanted to put out there about these little tiny cars, these little machines. They all have their own little personalities and the way that they run and stuff like that. Different attributes. And this one is superior to that one. Basically, that's what this video is to tell you guys. The R02 is, I guess it will be a good purchase if you're going to be running it on a large track with wide turns and stuff like that. You probably can have fun with this. But if you're just going to be running it on tabletops, doing like some of the things that you do with these little turbo racing 176 scale cars, of course the turbo racings are the best for the smallest space, and this is not that far behind, and I think this is better on the floor. So tight enough turn radius to drive around on the little tracks and drive around on the table a little, and having the grip and all to be running on a floor along with the suspension makes this one my favorite out of all of them, you know, on, you know, all around driving and all. And this one just fell short, man, just because of those two little things. It's funny how just two little things can make this an undesirable purchase for me. I don't think I will be getting any more of these unless they improve them or I can find out some kind of way to give it a tighter turn radius, give it a little more grip or whatnot. I think you're going to have to change out the tires. I have swapped these tires onto this car and they really don't fit. They kind of rub in the rear and all. And so really not a good fit. Doesn't really run with the tires from this guy. The tires are a little bit larger. As you can see, the little truck has a larger wheel. Said this one, the R02 has a larger wheelbase. So you can see there. So the R02 from LDARC is a pretty good purchase if you're going to be driving it on a large track. But in my opinion, it's not as much fun as the R01 on the floor. And it doesn't have a tight enough turn radius for my little tracks that I like to build for these little turbo racing cars. The smaller, the better for those little tracks. I just wish that all of the new turbo racing cars will have a gyro in them and also have a nice tight turn radius, because or they have to have suspension, because I think suspension in these two little cars make you able to run these and do without gyros, because the little cracks and crevices don't really affect them as much. So you can just adjust the steering, and once you get the steering all straightened out, then you're going to be good with these guys, because the suspension really stops them from bouncing around and changing the trajectory or direction too much. Whereas the little turbo racing cars, they don't have any suspension. So a gyro is really important to run these guys on a bumpy or cracked surface or whatnot. That's all I have to say about this one, the LDARC R02. Thanks for watching.